Valve is making Microsoft panic. They just changed their internal plans and put a console on hold, all because SteamOS is outperforming Windows 11. And now Microsoft is stuck trying to catch up to Valve before it's too late. In May 2025, reports indicated that Microsoft paused development of its first-party Xbox handheld console, codenamed Pembroke, to focus on optimizing Windows 11 for third-party handheld devices like the Legion Go S. This comes right after the SteamOS Legion Go S release, which led to a bunch of tests comparing the two models, SteamOS versus Windows. Microsoft's decision to pause its first-party Xbox handheld is mainly because of the competitive pressures from Valve's SteamOS, which has shown better performance and battery life on handhelds. According to some industry reports, SteamOS's efficiency has been described as an existential threat to Windows' dominance. So, Microsoft has shifted their internal priorities towards optimizing Windows 11 to improve gaming performance rather than investing resources in developing their own hardware. The recent rise of SteamOS is mainly due to its update to third-party handhelds this year, which has pressured Microsoft to rethink its strategy. Before, Valve only had their Steam Deck. Now, they are going to be taking over every other handheld. The Lenovo Legion Go S launched with different options, but for the SteamOS and Windows versions with a Z2 Go, performance benchmarks show SteamOS outperforming Windows 11 along with having a longer battery life. A test by Dave2B showed in Cyberpunk 2077, SteamOS achieves a 28% FPS increase over Windows 11 on the Legion Go S, which was also pointed out in previous tests like on the Steam Deck that had SteamOS outperform Windows 10. But it's not just frame rates. With Windows having a higher resource demand, it causes the device to heat up faster, shortening its battery life. For example, with Dead Cells on SteamOS, it lasted for 6.2 hours, while the Windows version was only 2.8 hours. But easily, the biggest thing that gets overlooked about SteamOS is that it's free. Seeing as SteamOS has no licensing fee, unlike Windows, it allows for the SteamOS version to be cheaper. The Legion Go S SteamOS model starts at $499, compared to $599 for the Windows version, a $100 difference. But like we just talked about, it's not even like they perform the same, so why spend $100 more for a worse product? SteamOS is cheaper, gives you better performance, a longer battery life, and even has a more user-friendly experience. This is the exact situation Microsoft is in right now, as Valve and SteamOS are completely outcompeting Windows. As more third-party manufacturers start to use SteamOS, Windows is at a risk of losing the handheld market share, which is why they have changed plans so that they can compete with SteamOS and not get shattered in every single metric. Valve has also mentioned wanting to release a SteamOS PC installer at some point, which, although they have said you shouldn't consider SteamOS as a replacement for a desktop operating system, many gamers are waiting for it. Going by how Valve is starting to dominate the handheld operating systems, what will happen when they release SteamOS officially for PC? Will it have a similar effect and put Windows to shame? Either way, the future for operating systems is exciting, especially if you want to finally get rid of Windows. Of course, you could just switch to Arch Linux right now, but many are waiting for the user-friendly SteamOS version. The thing is, Valve is always improving SteamOS. We know Proton, a compatibility layer that allows many Windows games to run on Linux, is currently in a beta for Proton 10, which will only improve SteamOS more as it already has over 18,000 titles marked as SteamOS compatible in 2025. So it's very clear Valve has been going full steam ahead with SteamOS, and Microsoft was caught off guard with their Windows 11. Although we are talking about Windows versus SteamOS, Microsoft is currently testing out Steam in their store, indicating that there is a collaboration behind the scenes. There is of course other stores like Epic, but it does show that it's not like both companies hate each other. Valve has been seen recently testing out a new Steam Store UI, which had a very strong console feel. Many agreed that it would be a nice UI for something like the Steam Deck or even other third-party handhelds which would use SteamOS. Valve also mentioned in the updated SteamOS page that they are currently working with select partners on officially licensed SteamOS devices and to reach out if you were interested. So maybe Microsoft should reach out to Valve to use their operating system. The future for Linux and SteamOS is honestly very exciting. I am expecting more and more handhelds to release with SteamOS, and then when we finally get the PC installer, a bunch of gamers will make the switch too. It's not like they would have to pay more money to use SteamOS, because it's free. So why not use an operating system which will give you more frames in-game? At the end of the day, that is what most gamers care about, their FPS, not some new co-pilot AI feature. So what operating system are you using? And would you switch to SteamOS when they officially release their PC installer?